Good evening, Dr. Apoorv. May I request you, please, can you share your screen?
Yes, yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
loud and
Okay.
clear.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Can you see? Yes, right. Can
Yes,
okay, full screen. Yes.
okay. So please keep this
How can I go to
slide.
the full screen?
So, Doctor, no, it is
Yeah,
full
yeah.
screen. We are able to see the full screen.
Okay, okay, fine, good.
So, Dr. Arunima,
Okay, okay, thank you.
Dr. Arunima, please let us start the meeting.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the National Workshop on Essentials of Manuscript Writing, jointly organized by the Department of Community Medicine and School of Public Health, PGIMER Chandigarh, and Association for Health Systems Analysis and Strengthening (AHSAS). I am delighted to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Apoorv Thittayil Suresh, for today's session on scientific writing and manuscript preparation and editor's lens. Dr. Suresh is the senior editor of the Lancet Regional Health Southeast Asia and has a wealth of experience in scientific research and publishing. Prior to joining the Lancet Group, he worked as a science editor at the Journal of Visualized Experiments, where he focused on bioengineering. Sir has also worked in senior roles in WINS Bioproducts Limited and Sapphira Innovations Private Limited in India. Dr. Suresh obtained his PhD in biotechnology with a specialization in neuroscience and parasitology from the University of Hyderabad. He is a highly accomplished professional with extensive experience in manuscript writing and publishing, and he will be sharing his expertise with us today. I request Dr. Bijay Kumar Padhi sir to kindly welcome our esteemed speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arunima. So, dear friends, let us welcome with me Dr. Apoorv for his consent to present his expertise or his experience to us. So I request everybody. So can you please just switch on your video so that we can take a group photo with Dr. Apoorv? If possible, I understand this is a Sunday, weekend evening, and there are some compulsions. So it will be good. Those who can switch on your videos, just switch on. So I'm taking a photograph. Just cheers. So thank you. So friends, since this is a
Thank you.
webinar and there are many compulsions, so please keep your mic mute until we ask you unmute and ask questions. As the rule of this webinar we are conducting, 1 hour will be the speaker will speak, and 30 minutes there will be question and answer session. So please keep your questions along with you, or if possible, you just type in the chat box. So as I promised, there will be e-certificate for this attendance. So at the end of this session, I will share a Google Meet, Google form link where you will put your name and email ID so that instantly you will receive your certificate. So without further delay, let us respect time and welcome Dr. Apoorv to start the session. So Dr. Please,
Thank
the
you,
skin
Dr.
is
Anima.
yours.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Anima and Dr. Bijaya. So today, and thanks to everyone for joining me this session, even on this weekend. So I'll be talking something, a few of the practical tips and about manuscript writing, some from my own experience and my own role as an editor here in Lancet. So everybody they like writing. So people sometimes they want to write a storybook, but it does not work. And I will show you some recent data. This is something they collected from Google search data from 2021 to 2022. So each country, the dream job. So what is the dream job of every person? What is the most Google searched dream job? You can see here in Asia, you can find in India, it's writer is more. In Pakistan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Singapore. So many people, even in Africa side also, Africa side and in Europe. So many people, it is, I think, second to pilot in terms of most people, they want to become a writer or they want to express themselves, this way of expression. But I'll go to, so is writing a skill? Yes, writing is a skill, and through practice you can develop it. Um, Something is inborn, but in the case of scientific writing, it is completely different. There is, the style is of second priority. You should not be misunderstood. That is the main intention of the scientific writing. So people, like each journal have their own guidelines, like introduction and methods. Um, why we have kept all these guidelines is so every person, they start writing it differently and different styles. You won't be able to compare all the documents. So that's why we have kept some guidelines like IMRAD, you know, right? Introduction, methods, results, and discussion. So through practice, you can develop this skill. There is nothing like inborn, like less language. We don't know language. So by gradually we learn, we gradually pick our mothers, all the sentences. So like that, we can develop this skill. And another thing is writing is thinking. So it is almost related to each other. So you can see here, I have kept this here. Writing and thinking clearly is like it goes well together. You can write and it helps in making your thoughts clear, as well as like people who can think clearly, they only can write very nicely. So this is very important. Like most of the scientific writing, they try to focus on skill, these guidelines you have to follow, but this is the most essential and core part of the writing. Like here, Albert Einstein also tell, you can't explain, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So that is more important. So as I told earlier, there is no style, like there is no special. If in the case of normal general writing, there is some style is there, people like it, they get like a Nobel Prize for literature, they get literary awards. But in the case of scientific writing, the style is of second priority. So first thing is, you should be clear, like you should not be confused, or your writing should not be ambiguous so that it get misinterpreted. So that is the main core idea of all these guidelines and all the good scientific writing. You should be clear, like it should be well perfect, that there is no chance of getting confused or getting misinterpreted or misunderstood. So writing is challenging as well as fun. So it helps in communicating your results to the rest of the world. So it is some like way of communication. You have done the research, you want to show it to your rest of the world. So how you will do? So you need to communicate. So new ideas are already like new ideas and different perspective. They are always first opposed, but if it's very good and you have well evidence to prove it, it it is usually respected. So why we always oppose new ideas is because it helps science in a way, because people, they can go about thinking about very wild ideas. And so if you have some evidence and you have some argument, it is backed by evidence, and you can prove it, your ideas are later on accepted. And you can even change the current clinical practice, you can change the health policies, so etc. So I'll be taking you to three parts. So first is preparation before writing a manuscript. It is very practical tips I'll be giving you. Then I'll be going through sections in a manuscript, IMRAD, and essentials of writing. So I'll be going through very broad, and I'll be narrowing down to the paragraphs. So first part. So this is a preparation before writing a manuscript. So generally people think like we in Asia, many people, they, as you know, English is our second language, so we don't know much, and we have to learn English. For the foreigners, it is easy, who have their first language as English, it is very easy. We have to struggle a lot, we have to learn a new language. But most of the manuscripts are rejected mainly due to poor discussions or arguments. That is the main point. Like if even if you're writing poorly, you have a nice idea or nice point to make, that is more accepted and more appreciated. You have language editing services, and in our journal also, if you have a nice point to make and you have a lot of grammatical mistake, you can give it to a language editing services and you can get it nicely done. But that will uh, like remove all the grammar mistakes only. Your ideas, and they can, your language editing service, they can't write ideas or help with your ideas. That should be yours, and people, they respect clarity of thoughts. So like I told you earlier, the core part of a manuscript is the argument. Arguments, it's not like fighting. Here, argument is how you are trying to prove your claim. So this is just one claim. You just woke up in the morning and your friend is there, and you tell him, oh, it rained last night. So how you know, right, last night it rained? The roads are wet. So your claim here is it rained last night. So your friend is saying, how do you know it rained last night? The roads are wet. So that is your evidence. You are giving evidence to your friend that the roads are wet. So your friend gives another opposition. Why? Are there any reasons for roads to get wet? Any other reason? So you give another evidence supporting the evidence one. Like community helpers are there, so they did not clean the roads because they have been strike for 2 days. We know that, and night there was no sound of children playing the last night and like wetting the roads. There is no sight of broken pipes, and yesterday morning you saw on the TV that there is a faraway storm. So there is chance of, and there are so many other arguments also. This is just one example I gave. So you have to work on these claims and evidence. So this should be respected in your scientific and manuscript writing. So that is more important rather than any other style. Your claim backed by evidence should be important. So working on your argument. So it rained last night, roads are wet, and heard on news. So these two evidence, it backs your claim. So this is one of my old research paper I had brainstormed. This is the core finding of my paper. So this protein is decreased. So I asked question, how can I prove it? So gene levels are decreased. How the gene levels are? You keep on asking these questions, backing up by evidence. So you will have a nice clear picture, and you can come back to this main finding also. So the subunit protein levels have gone down. So subunit have decreased. So gene levels have decreased, and your main finding is found. So this template you can find in the net. So you can just download it, take a printout and work on it. So you see this part, it went to one of my paragraph in the discussion. The second, this side, it went to a discussion. So your clarity of thoughts will be respected by the reviewers. So reviewers can easily follow your argument. Okay, this person has thought about it, and it is easy to follow the writing. So the reviewers will be able to like follow your argument as your counter arguments, and they will be more, there's more chance of getting impressed and the paper getting accepted. You might get a minor revision rather than a major revision. So how a manuscript is organized? So it comes from a border, like broad sense. It narrows down to the methods, and it comes down broad again to the conclusion. So introduction, how the topic is affecting most people, like how the topic is your subject area is affecting people. If you are working on a disease, uh, for example, some tuberculosis, how many people are getting affected, how many people are dying. So that is very broadly you have to write. Then you come down to you narrow down to your topic, like what is known, For example, you're talking about diagnostic test. Some diagnostic test is like, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I thought there is some net. Okay, yeah. So, so this from the broad, how is your topic affecting the people? Suppose what is known? Suppose you are working on a diagnostic test for TB. What is known? What are the is there would be some diagnostic test for TB. So what is known and what is unknown? There are some disadvantages. There is some gap. Although you are using the diagnostic test, there are some disadvantages, like some of the there is so many false positive, like false negatives. So what your new diagnostic test would be helping, and there how it will be filling that gap. So that will be in the introduction, and you will be narrowed down, and your methods will be how you fill that gap. What are the techniques or methods, your study design, and what you have found in the results, and the discussion. So I earlier told you, like, discussion, you should support your claims with the evidence, and uh, how your study is going to help people. So again, you have like broad sense, you have narrowed down. Again, you have broad, how your study is going to help people in a broad sense. So maybe like your diagnostics test, you are estimating it might prevent this much death, or it would help to detect and maybe eradicate TB also. Like that broad sense, you can put the conclusion and stop. So which section to start writing first? I would suggest there is a lot of writer's block. So methods you have already done. It is easy, you know the details, just write the details. So once this methods is written, it will be like maybe 25%. So you will be having you'll be become little confident. Okay, I have written this much. Again, the results is nothing, just what you measured, and you just write what you have found. And you go back to the introduction. Why you go back to introduction is you will have an idea where you are headed. So you can write the introduction after that, and the discussion. As I told you earlier, like the claims and evidence. So this is the most important part of of a manuscript. Then you write the conclusions, and easy, once you have completed discussion, is easy. So no need of you can start writing the first draft if you want, but most of the pre-writing happens at most of the 70% of the writing process, it happens in pre-writing. So you have to search the literature, and search all the literature and find what are the earlier studies, what they found, whether it is like your results are in line with the earlier studies. Suppose some person found exactly opposite of what you found. So how can you tell what happened? Maybe you can, definitely they will be asking, this previous study they have found this, but you have found this like opposite of what they have found. So they might ask, maybe your technique is bad, something has gone wrong. You can put these claims and tell, okay, in the previous paper this happened, so in this my paper this happened. So you can argue and you can publish also. So you then go to the first draft, 10%, then you can go to the revisions. It almost the 20 takes 20%. Once tip I will suggest you is, when you are writing, you try to copy paste, or like make a note of what you have found, and uh, try to note down that paper, because after some time you will be like confused. Oh, where did that paper go? So like that you'll get confused. So start pre-writing, and keep note of everything, and write your first draft. So how to manage this writer's block? So my suggestion is, set a timer for 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Put the timer in front of you and start writing. So it doesn't matter, like no problem, like you can start walking around. Even if you're getting frustrated, you can come back. And only thing is, when you start to see the timer, you'll think, okay, after 30 minutes this audio will be gone, so I will try to write whatever I can, and this will help you in because I even write editorials, and also I face this challenge. So you all can follow this. So after some time, you will get overwhelmed also. 2 or 3 days you're writing, you keep the manuscript aside for 2 days. Your subconscious mind would be definitely working on that. Some ideas, maybe like I told earlier, some previous study has like completely different result as you have. Your subconscious mind will definitely work on it, and maybe as when you go out for a walk or something, you might get that idea or a thought. So even if you come back, you start seeing the manuscript in a different perspective. You start to see more mistakes because you are every time seeing that manuscript, it won't be that obvious to you. And after like changing and correcting all those mistakes, you can give that manuscript to your friend who is from another research field. If your friend can from another research field can understand your paper, no need to like uh, he or she has to understand everything, but at least he has to get a nice broad idea, okay, what you have trying to say. So, and after that you can congratulate yourself by submitting to any journal. And another tip I would suggest is learn statistics and experimental study design early on. This is very important. Like you can't do more complex statistics. Like statistical reviewers can easily detect all. If you are, like I told you earlier, your claim or your hypothesis or your evidence is not strong, and you are coming with a complex statistics or your complex style of writing, that doesn't help you. Your manuscript has high chance of getting rejected. You can solve simple yeah, like you can use simple statistics to solve problems. So that will be having a clarity of thoughts. Even reviewers, they'll be appreciating you. Okay, this person, even if he's using a simple statistics, he or she knows what he or she is doing. So statistical, and another two important things, statistical method should be used in a study, must be decided early on. If you have doing a clinical research, you have protocols. So you have protocols, and the statistical methods will be decided early on. Why it is important is because each statistical method are the statistical method we use are based on some assumptions. So after you complete a study and start changing the statistical method, that is not correct. That will be known as p hacking. You can just play around with the statistics and get some p value which is lower, like less than 0.05, and get the things done, but that is not correct. And if possible, you are working with mice or any people or study participants, you have to estimate the sample size, which must be decided before the study. How much and the statistical power, all these two items should be uh, like decided early on. I'll just give a 1-minute break to think over. Yeah. Now I'll come to the second part of manuscript. So each part of the manuscript I'll be discussing. So first is title. So title is important. Like you have keywords, your paper will be in a database. It will be searched by people, and you want your paper to be cited and like read by people. So in addition to keywords, you want this titles to be very clear, it should try to align with your keywords so that people, if they search, they will get your paper, they will try to read your paper also. For basic research, I can suggest maybe can be declamatory, like state you can found this molecule is leading to this disease. That main finding you can write in your result. For clinical research in our journal, we have, it should be non-declamatory. So you should not state the finding in your title, just the association or this checking of the function on the effect of this on this effect. And in the title, in the case of clinical research, it should be, it's good that you mention the place of study and the study descriptor. Like people will be searching, and if this study, it is not obvious from the title, it might not be good. So Bangladesh or any India and Western India, Northern India or Indonesia, and the study descriptor. So study descriptor in the case of research article, it can be randomized clinical trial, observational study. So this should be stated as the study descriptor has to be stated in the title. In the case of authorship, so authorship also important. Our journal Lancet, we follow the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors guidelines are there. So these 4 criteria has to be that every author has to have these 4 criteria. Like he or she has to have substantial contribution to the paper and the drafting of the work, final approval. You can see here it is written and. So all these 4 criteria should be there. You have seen like you are publishing and the HOD, they want to have a authorship on your paper. Actually, it is not correct. So he or she has to have these 4 criteria, and otherwise you can just mention them in the acknowledgement. That is more important. And before you start work, to avoid conflict, is better you decide on the authorship before. Otherwise there will be a lot of conflicts. Or optional, you can use an email like before starting work, okay, me and my friend, we are going to start this work, and we will be the first author, you can be the corresponding author. This has to be decided early on, otherwise it will lead to many problems. So writing concisely. Writing is, you can write, keep on writing, you can write like anything, nothing, no problem at all. And this quote I like, I have only made this letter rather long because I have not had time to make it shorter. So writing many things, a long paragraph, that is easy. How to concise and like make it more concise and writing is very difficult. That's why try to convey in less words is hard. This one also I like all big things have little names such as life, death, peace, war, dawn, day, night, love, home. Like each small word, it gives a lot of emotion. If you think about peace and war, there are a lot of images and emotions coming up. So writing concisely is also an art. So when this helps is during correspondence or commentaries, you have to write everything in concise matter in correspondence or commentaries in journals, like 400 words and 750 words, many things. How can you concise and write? It's nothing like if you have more concise, you have more power also. So this how to write concisely, it helps in the abstract also, like 250 words to 300 words, all the manuscripts. Abstract literally means pulling together, from the manuscript. So pulling everything, all the main sentences you are putting here, and the abstract is important to put the study period and the where the study was conducted and number of participants, and try to reduce the abbreviations. Don't put too many abbreviations, otherwise maybe one like and it has to be expanded at the first use, and no references. And because if you put the references in the abstract, people will come to know you are not that professional. So it is, be very serious about it. And well written abstract, and we will be sending, as a journal editor, we'll be sending invitations to the reviewers, like positive, like possible reviewers. They'll be reading the abstract first before accepting to review. So if they see the abstract is poorly written, they will hesitate to even review also. Like I have many one one study is there that we have sent it for reviews. Almost we sent to 27 reviewers and they just rejected it. They consider it like it is very poorly written. So, and it is very, and others keep on coming back. What happened? What happened? Why it's taking a lot of time? So we sent it to many reviewers, but they rejected. So keep writing nice abstracts, and even, and you have seen, if it's open access it's okay, but if it's closed access, many people around the world, they don't have access to the full manuscript, so they will see the like abstract. So if abstract is good, all the details are there, maybe if they don't have that full manuscript also, they can cite your paper, so that will be helping you. So in the, I will come to the introduction. I have already talked about it. So the last sentence of the introduction, before it goes to the next section of methods, it's your hypothesis and aim of the study should be there. This is one paper. It is optional. You can like summarize before the methods what you found in your paper and your hypothesis, and the last sentence, what you did in the study in one sentence, and it has to go to the methods. So methods, main thing is methods equals to reproducibility. How, if some person they want to make a cake and they don't give the full recipe to you, you can't make it. So like that, all your recipe has to be shared with the people, and if you have any genetic uh, sequence, it has to be in the database so people can uh, access it. So everything should be transparent here, and everything what you did, if you have worked on people or mice or any animals, laboratory animals, you had to give the ethical permissions, whether you got from the institutional ethical committee, whether you got permission, and it has to be in past tense, because the methods, uh, what happens is sometimes they take some protocol or um, project proposal, they immediately copy paste everything and keep it here. So in the methods, it will be like, we would be going to do this. So as it in the paper, it should be past tense, it looks very odd. So you have to be careful with that. Use past tense in the methods. This we did, and after that, this we did, like that. Past tense we had to use. So we measured and mean all these parameters you can write here. And in the results, so only discuss what were the results. Don't try to interpret anything. Your results, what you got, what were the numbers. So the interpretation should be left to the discussions section. And don't repeat. If you have a table for your findings, you can just summarize in 1-2 sentence what is in the table and cite the table. Don't put all the p-values and here and same. Don't put like that. And provide sections for guiding the reader. So in the results, you can put subsection like small finding, the second small finding, and this will help in guiding the reader. And figures and tables. So here, most of the journal, they have a minimum, they expect you to submit a minimum resolution of 300 dpi. And the rule of thumb is, even if you zoom the figure twice, that will be clear. That is very simple. I find it very difficult to explain it to people, because if that figure comes to the PDF while it's published, you zoom twice, readers won't be, it will be very like blurry. So it is better you give a high resolution, submit a high resolution figure to the journal, and all use same, and this will be like same font size and types used in all the figures. This should be consistent in all the figures. This will also impress the editors as well as reviewers. And don't use figures just to fill space. See, if you have like 70%, 10%, don't use a graph just like that, just to show this small data. So it looks very odd, and people, they come to know, okay, this is trying to fill the spaces. And if possible, some people, they have color vision deficiency, you can avoid red and green colors together. And in the case of figures and tables, all the figures should be independent. Like before, without reading the manuscript, if one person, he or she can read the figure, he or she should be able to make out what are the findings without reading the manuscript. So the figure should be independent and it stand of its own. That is very important. So legends can help in guiding the readers. And if there are too many figures, that could be shifted to the supplementary material. There is no problem because it is part of the manuscript also. Some people take it as very like sometimes people get hurt if editors tell them to shift some of the figures to the supplementary material. It's no problem. Your main finding, main figure, that will be that will be creating having more impact rather than all the figures. And discussion, like I told you earlier, the claim plus evidence. So first sentence of the discussion should summarize all the overall main finding. See, you can see here, I cited one example. Present study compared these vaccines for immunogenicity and safety. This is after this sentence, you start going to the next part of the discussion. So claim and evidence, it should be in present tense, and you can like earlier I showed you one bubble type, right? So you can write, you can think over what if it is not like this, why so, okay, so what, you are telling this and you can ask yourself, so what, and maybe some other reason is happening. So you can put counter arguments. And when you are referring to previous study like this et al or study by this person and colleagues, you can put in past tense. So it will be like present tense and past tense in the discussion. And you can tell about the strengths, and you can tell and all the results. You should not overstate the findings. You can, if you have some limitations, you can tell, and you can state your limitations also. This will like really impress the reviewers as editors, because they will come to know, okay, this person has thought about it and he or she knows where or he or she is going. And the conclusion, you can, like I told you earlier, broadly you can write one sentence. These findings can help in use the public awareness, help change the policy, like that. So 1 minute break I'll give just to think. Okay. So coming to the third part. So essentials of writing. Why I have told put this picture here is each person as a small unit, they have a part to play in the in winning. This person has to like play his or her part, and it has to sync, and together they would be winning. So like that, words, sentence, and paragraph, they will be helping you at like each help, and together they will be helping you to succeed. So first sentence of a paragraph should ideally be a topic sentence. So topic sentence is the first sentence of a paragraph, which guides or lets the reader know like what that particular paragraph is going to be. So here I will share some example. So Thailand was the first Asian country to legalize cannabis in June 2022. And this sentence guides the reader and tells them this sentence would be, this paragraph would be discussing about the cannabis legalization in Thailand. And the next paragraph, the illicit drugs and the conflicts go in hand, how the war and the usage of drugs go hand in hand. So this small sentence, but it helps and it tells the reader that this sentence, this paragraph would be discussing about that. So try to keep topic sentence, and it looks very good and really helps in readability. Some of the main some rules I'll be sharing. So try to keep subject the main verb near. One example I'll show. See here, the brains which were frozen previously in liquid nitrogen and stored in -80 degrees Celsius were thawed by keeping inside ice. So brain and thought, they are separated by a long sentence. So you can split it here and it reads better. The brains were frozen in liquid nitrogen and stored in -80 degrees Celsius. And on the day of experiment, the brains, and you can see the subject and main verb, they brought together and reads very good. Like brains were thawed on ice. So split the sentence. Don't put like long sentence, not more than 22 words per sentence. People, they keep on writing like, people get bored also after reading. The readers get bored and readability is also affected. So keep 22 words per sentence, write short sentence, and try to connect with the other sentences, and try to avoid noun clusters like filament length variability. So it is better to write variability of filament length. So like that, try to avoid the noun clusters. And this is also another issue. Usually it is after writing, like the author will be very obvious. They know what they're talking about, but reader, there is a chance of getting confused. Like I told you earlier, scientific writing, you should not get misunderstood. So that is our main and clear writing. So don't use, you avoid these pronouns like it, he, she, they, and one example like community health workers use the questionnaire to interview the study participants. After the interview, the clinicians interacted with them. So here we don't know whether the clinicians interacted with the community health workers or the study participants. We might think, okay, maybe it is the study participants only, but still it is better to make it clear to the readers that you are talking about the study participants. Okay, and some of the nouns, they could be changed to verbs, like measurement of the blood pressure was done. You can simply write blood pressure was measured. So here measurement, the noun, it is changed to verb. And try to expand the abbreviation on first use. This is also important. So like in our Lancet, we have general, is a general medical journal. So many people from the other field, they might also read your paper. So if you are using one CSF as an abbreviation and you are not defining it, people might get confused. So immunology person, it is a colony stimulating factor. In the case of neuroscience, it is cerebrospinal fluid, and you have neuroimmunology also. So there is a chance people can get confused. So expand the abbreviation on first use so that the other people from the other field, they can also understand. And parallel ideas. People, what they think is, once you used a word, you have, it is very awkward to use the same word again. There is nothing. When you are using a word consistently, you are helping the readers to like readability will be higher. They will know, okay, this person or this word I know. They can easily follow your argument. Otherwise, you're seeing you're putting another word by seeing the dictionary. People will be getting confused. Okay, oh, okay, this the same word he or she has referred to is the same word. So like that, people can get confused. One example I'll show in unparalleled idea. Study participants provided consent to the study and forms were filled by the study participants. Here it is active and here it is passive. So parallel, you can change it to study participant provided the consent, and again active voice fill the questionnaire. And inconsistent, I was telling you now, and consistent. You can see here, our study has few limitations. First, the blood pressure of the 25% participants were measured by a fitness watch. Next, hypertension could have been increased due to white coat syndrome. So here the author has changed first to next. It is good to put first and second. That will help in guiding the reader. And blood pressure or hypertension, if you are changing it suddenly, the reader can get confused. And flow and connecting, you can use thesaurus for your manuscript writing, but don't overuse. What I told is your main aim is to not to confuse the reader and use very clear writing. And you use the same word for one thing, no as to confuse the readers. Once you are telling the study subjects, again participants, again individuals, again people, and try to use if you are some of your study participants have like non-communicable disease like diabetes, don't tell diabetic patients, try to use the word people with diabetes. And if the people or study participants you are talking about is hospitalized, you can use the word patients. So I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
So friends, now let us you raise your hands. So I'll ask one by one. You can unmute and ask questions.
May I ask, sir?
Please
Hello, sir.
introduce yourself
Yes,
and ask.
hi.
Yes, Mobani,
Hello, sir.
please
This is
introduce
Moboni. Hello, sir. This is Moboni
from which
from
institute you
West
are.
Bengal. I
Hi.
want to ask.
Just name and from which
Yeah, from
institute.
the university.
Mobani,
Yeah,
listen me.
from the University of Bardhaman.
Okay, please carry on.
Okay.
Using the thesaurus, but not overuse. Sir, can you explain it again?
Like for you can use thesaurus for your work. What I meant to say is not overuse is like I told earlier, like people people like simple writing. Simple writing is important. Your general writing is different from scientific writing. That's what I meant to say. First it should be clear, then you can add on with thesaurus. There's nothing like if you start writing your manuscript like eloquently and some big words, people they have to use a dictionary and start to read your manuscript. So that is not good. And even editors also, we if I see any complex word, I'll ask the readers to like authors to change it, but because that will be helping people who doesn't have all the like what to tell, all the access. They are from a poor background and a low resource setting, they'll have difficulty in understanding. So it is better to write very simple way. If you are writing any commentary or correspondence, then you can start writing and develop your style in that later on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next,
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Krishna Chandra Sahu.
Sir, I am Dr. Krishna Chandra Sahu and ICMR RMR Shivhoni, sir. Sir,
Okay.
my question is related to reference. Sometimes most of the journal, they restricted the reference to 30, 31. In that case, how to select the good reference?
Okay, yeah. No need of citing everything what you have, because if you start like citing everything, that will be difficult. Some of the thing like maybe some of the facts, no need of citing. For example, smoking leads to cancer, no need of citing because that you already know. If you have some numbers like this many deaths are happened, it happened in 2020, then you have already published this paper. Maybe after 20 years a person is reading your paper, like 20 years back paper, and how they know this much death happened. That case you can give that reference, that will be good. And no need of citing the reference every time. You can be very selective, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that will like increase your confidence also. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm Dipendra from Nepal. I'm from Patan Academy of Sciences. I have one
Hi.
question. Hello, sir. I have one question regarding pre-writing.
Yeah.
Would you please
Which
elaborate
writing?
on pre-writing, sir?
Rewriting.
Pre-writing.
Rewriting. Yeah, you can be more specific so that I can talk about it.
Sorry.
Like
Yes.
what difficulties you faced?
Like 70% pre-writing. That section on the discussion, I would like. I have a better understanding of it.
Okay. Like once you start just like that in first draft, why I told you is when you start like working on your arguments and you search all the literature, you start working on your literature and seeing all the points, you will be much prepared and you will have more clarity of thinking that will help you in writing a better draft rather than when you're writing first draft your writing is not clear. That's what I meant to say. Once you start it is like I told you earlier, right? So writing and thinking clearly it's goes together. So you have this much data, you have some idea, you start writing again, your writing and your clarity of thoughts will be improved. Again you can go back and it goes happens go exchange will be going on together and you can write a better draft.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Good
Dr.
evening.
Dibjot.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I'm Dr.
Yeah.
Dibjot, working as associate professor in Department of Transfusion Medicine, PGI.
Okay. Yeah.
My
Okay.
question is, what are the guidelines for corresponding author? And also, you explained about parallel ideas. So, what do you mean by parallel ideas? Kindly explain more.
Parallel ideas means if you are using and like the as well as and like 2-3 points, maybe I can tell this study has some limitations, like that all the points will be going. If all those sentences are similar, it will be helping the reader to understand better. Like if you're using active voice, for example, if you're using active voice, similarly you are using the second and third sentence also similarly, it will help in reader to understand better. You are again using some other terminology, again the readers will be confused. I sorry I didn't use any examples, otherwise I could have shown you.
And what are the guidelines for the corresponding author and
In our corresponding author guidelines,
yeah,
like
who can be the corresponding author and who can be the
corresponding it's okay, anyone can be corresponding author. It is just the person, you all will be responsible for. Sometimes if the paper has some issues, there some manipulation or something has happened, everyone is responsible for that paper. It's nothing like only corresponding author will be the person responsible. Each and every author will be responsible and he will be acting on behalf of all the authors and taking more responsibility for the issues and helping to correct all the issues.
okay, thank you.
So even like MSc or any budding researcher, they can also be corresponding author. Nothing like senior authors can be.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Kamesh
May I
Rajan?
ask a question?
Kamesh Rajendra.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm Dr.
Hi.
Kamesh. I'm an assistant professor from UPS
Okay.
Dehradun. So it's good session. I also asked to encourage my students to participate,
thank
and they
you.
are in the session.
Okay, thank you.
And many students are currently in the process of writing review articles.
Okay, yeah.
Can you elaborate briefly how the review articles writing is different from the research articles, and what is mean by review articles? It's not just the summarizing of the previous studies.
Correct.
What are the key factors that we have to implement in review articles? How can one write a efficient review articles?
Nice.
Can you?
Yeah, nice. So review articles, how they are helpful to us is now with all this technology and a lot of many publications are coming coming right now, right? So everyone, they can't read. Suppose you want to write, you are joining a like TB, you are joining a group who is working on TB, and you don't know what is the recent updates regarding TB. You can't go on reading about all the uh, research articles. It will take a lot of time. So research article, this review, how it helps is it collects all the updates. So each year and each time there will be some new reviews will be coming. So it will be collecting what is the current status, is there any update, and like I told you earlier, your ideas are more important rather than summarizing. Like if you ask any now, I think Chat GPT and all will be there. Any other article to summarize all the results, it will tell you. But your ideas, two three findings, and you can tell also. Okay, these studies it happened like that, but unfortunately, how you criticize constructively this study, this did not happen. So the next, maybe the next research group who are going to study on this topic, they'll be seeing, okay, this review, it is written the 2 3 limitations of the previous study. We would be trying to address these limitations the next study. So in a way, this review is helping to address all those gaps or fill those gaps for the next person. Otherwise it will be just like people are publishing, the limitations are going on, and everyone will be telling, okay, this finding is there, but limitation, you can't compare also. So this critical assessment will be there in the review, and it will help moving the science ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
Okay, next public doctor.
Good evening, sir. I'm
Yeah.
Dr. Shoaib from Bangalore Medical College.
Hi.
I'm final year PG.
Hi.
Sir, my question is related to like, as we have like these bigger publishers like Elsevier or Springer Nature or even as a part Lancet as a fact. So for the article, like for example, your this own journal, South Asian Region Lancet, it comes for health or something like a public health. But some one thing happened with me was when I had sent to one of the journal, the editor had recommended it to the transfer desk. So I did look into the aims and scope of the journal, but still that happened. Can you comment upon that? Like, why does that happen, or why, like the editors think that it is more suitable to other journals?
So if you can give some more details regarding the, so what the topic was related to?
It was more on HIV, sir, and
Okay.
secondary analysis of NSHS 4 and 5 data.
Okay, okay. So which journal? No need of telling the name. Maybe is it a general journal?
Initially, I had sent it to community health, but later it was recommended to a journal under similar publication, which was on public health. So I was not able to understand what it was. Like.
Okay, it did not align with your aims and.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sometimes what happens is you can send it to a higher like journal which has higher impact factor, but suppose you're working as just as an example, I will tell, you're working on some maybe whale genome, and you're sending that paper to a ocean journal which considers all the marine animals. Maybe your paper will be rejected, or they won't be interested. It may be like they have a lot of submissions and they are not interested, they are not able to prioritize your paper in their journal. So if you are sending to a another journal, that is whale journal, that will be more aligned with your manuscript. One tip maybe I can tell you. You see all your references, all your references, right? Once you written, take which all journals you have cited. Suppose one public health, you have cited 3, another one you have taken global health. so it is 5, you try to send to the journal which you have cited more. That will be more aligned to your manuscript. So you can send like that and try.
Thank you so much for the
Yeah.
answer, sir. Thank you.
Next question, Dr. Maheshwata Chakrabarti.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. Thank you for this informative
Hi.
session. I am a PhD student from Banaras Hindu University. My question is, often after submitting a manuscript to a journal, we receive a comment like your abstract is too descriptive or your description is too descriptive without any theoretical focus. So, how to address this type of comments or how to avoid them in future?
It's no issue. It depends on the journal because, like I told, maybe they have another better manuscript compared to yours. You will have, if you have some statistics, some more analysis. Descriptive means, you know, right? There were some incidents. You go to a community or a village, you change, you take the measurements of children, and there is some nutrition, there is some height issue problems. So simply you are measuring all the height, weight, and everything. That is just descriptive. You are not analyzing anything. You are just saying what in the population or that cohort, what is the status. That is what you are conveying to the people. But if you are doing some analysis, small statistical analysis compared to any other paper or maybe the health surveys or something like some small exercise, maybe you have much more chance because you are telling one new thing that is not already known. And if even if you're suppose you are telling the height weight ratio of a particular village, that may be different in another part of the North India, maybe it is different in South India, so it won't be that much representative of the whole India. So it is better to have multicentric. Even if you are collecting some data, you can collect from the a wide range of, you can collaborate with people at a very expanded 2-3 research groups, which is having maybe from South India, like eastern part of the India, west, so that your data will become more stronger and you will have more sample size also.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So next, Bishwajit Singh.
Hello.
Hello.
Dr. Bishwajit, yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. It was really very nice and informative presentation.
Thank you.
And I am Vishwajit Singh. I am Research Associate at Texas Tech University Health Science Center. My question is basically how a reviewer, or in your opinion, how a reviewer see any manuscript that submitted to their journal as in a first view, if there is any presence of the biostatistician.
Biostatistician
means I want to say that if in an author list there is a biostatistician, is really that matters to a reviewer to send for the first review at least?
No need. In our case, in our journal, what we do is we just send to 2-3 peer reviewers, general peer reviewers, who is having expertise on the particular subject topic, and if they are okay, then only we'll send to the statistical reviewer. And some peer reviewer, they have some statistical knowledge, so they will also tell this is the design is little flawed. And to be frank, we all have biases. Everyone has bias, so we see 2-3 people how their majority what they are telling, then only we will be considering that. So one person tell this is like very bad data, we will be sending to more reviewers, because that will be not fair on the authors to get rejected by just because of the comments by one person. And if you are agreeing with that, then only we'll be sending. So sometimes we have seen one and if you're sending also, there will be some conflict of interest. Maybe this person doesn't like the other research group, so that's why he or she is giving some bad reviews. So we will be again we are a little bit doubtful, we'll be sending again to the another statistical reviewer. If he or she is okay, then we will be taking it forward like that. That's why we take from multiple reviewers. There will be no bias.
That is great, sir. This because normally the people
Okay,
think like if
next
there is any
question.
biostatistician, then
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next question, Hriday. So we have so many questions, so please be very specific.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
follow Dr. Apoorv in LinkedIn. He is very active, and you can chat there also. Okay, so we'll
Yes,
give
yes.
the space to everyone. There are many questions. People have raised their hands. So next question, Dr. Hriday.
I am Hriday Devgupta from Nepal.
Hi.
My question is related to this author's order. Sometimes I find confused, and who would be the first author, and the second author, third author, and the last authors. And is there any specific guideline or criteria? Could you please describe that, sir?
There is no order, but general, the first author will be the person who is contributed more to the study. That will be the most case, and the last author or the corresponding author would be the person who is the senior most, who guided the experimental design and all. The senior most person will be usually the corresponding author. There is some chance sometimes the senior researcher, he or she will be giving the chance to the first author or the budding researcher to be a corresponding author. So there is no issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So next question, Anupriya Kaur. Dr. Anupriya.
Hello, Dr. Apoorv.
Hi.
I'm Dr. Anupriya. I'm a faculty in PGI.
Hi.
I wanted to ask that those of us who are new in this field and we want to increase our number of citations, should we be aiming at those journals which have a high impact factor, or should we be aiming at journals which are open access? I mean, what would have a greater chance of increasing our number of citations?
Citations, the both are good. Like if you have open access, like any person in the any part of the world, they can read your paper. And for example, like Lancet, they have some prestigious journal like that, tag is there. So definitely you will have like more exposure, like media also, they will be following the journal. But it's no problem if you send to other journal also. Try to be like I told you earlier, like your clarity of thoughts will be more important. Try to share with your social media and how your paper is. You can even contact your media people also to like promote your paper. And in Wikipedia also, for example, you can edit and cite your paper. There have been some studies like Wikipedia. If you are putting your journal, your paper, there is high chance of citing, because mostly if you're taking TB, they'll be seeing the TB of the Wikipedia page only. So again, they will be seeing the paper. Okay, like that you can promote your paper.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, next question, Bina Asana. Dr. Bina.
Good evening, sir.
Hi.
I just want to know, sir, I'm Dr. Veena from Dehradun. Sir, I just want to know when we are discussing our results, then how to go with the primary objectives and secondary objective findings.
Like you can, people will be mostly interested in your primary objectives, how you are. So it is better to discuss primary objectives first, then go to secondary objectives. You can give a lot of counter arguments. You can just think from another person, like how these findings are good. Is it good? You can even criticize yourself. So you, to silence that person, how you are able to put your arguments, that will be helping you in your paper. And so that is also showing you have thought about some different perspectives, and reviewers and editors, they'll be happy also.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question, I think most of them covered now the second round. So if you just unmute and ask questions, we have another 4 or 5 minutes.
Sir, how to promote the paper? I just couldn't understand how to do it on Wikipedia.
Like Wikipedia, you can edit, right? You can make an account and you can just edit the Wikipedia. Wikipedia is edited by people only, so you can edit the. You can maybe suppose you are working. Suppose stroke. You are working on stroke. There is some interaction of this molecule, or the relation of stress on stroke, and you can write a small subsection on stress on stroke, and you can write a small sentence and cite your paper like that. And you can promote through social media also.
But it would be a self-citation. So is it allowed?
No, not self-citation. Not self-citation. Okay. Self-citation is actually illegal. If you're writing a paper and again you are citing your like your previous paper, that will be self-citation. I'm telling you will be mentioning your paper in the Wikipedia. Another reader who will be reading the Wikipedia, they will be seeing your paper because your paper is already mentioned there, and they will be citing in their study. So that will be helping in increasing your citation. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, some tips for editorial letter or letter to the editor?
That is what I told. You have to have a new idea, a new perspective, because generally if you are reading any news also, you are even general public, they have idea about some disease also, how for example, if COVID is there, even people, they know how it happened, how is this transmitted, and media also, they talk about it, how you are seeing those taking those whatever the findings, and try to show the world in a different perspective, that will be appreciated by people. So that will be more important, and you try to have some expertise on that, and discuss on that. Even if you don't have expertise, try to work hard so that people think you are in the room, you are the best person, you have researched on this a lot. Even if you have difficult questions, you are able to answer them, so you will be the expert. Try to work on it. Don't try to work on multiple topics. Research on it, then think about the counter arguments, and create a beautiful letter to the editor or commentary and send it. That will be getting you more success.
So can we publish 2 papers out of 1 thesis?
Yeah, thesis definitely you can publish, but there should not be any salami slicing, right? Your salami slicing is actually unethical practice. If you have 2 things that is coming from a study, you cut it and publish one paper, and again from paper, that is not correct. Try to publish together as a single. But if you have like not similar but different findings, definitely you can publish as a separate 2 papers.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, any practical tips?
Vijay Kumar, is this recorded session will be shared to us later? Dr.
Yes, it is recorded, and I will share shortly.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, the session is recorded, and it will share shortly. So friends, if there is no further questions, so let us
So I
give
have
a
a
big
question.
thumbs up to Dr. Apoorv for his valuable. Oh, you have a question, so please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir, would you please share some practical tips for students like me who want to succeed as researchers in finding mentors and also doing some work by myself, like what fields are things I should be more careful on, and practical tips, please.
Tips on how to contact some mentors.
And also how to succeed as a researcher, like what I can do by myself also.
There are lots to tell, but you have any you have any particular interest that will be affecting your like you will be have more enthusiasm for that, and you can approach the like mentors who are more aligned to your interest. Then you can start working on them. Maybe you can discuss like I told you, give some nice ideas working on that. This, although this much research has been done on this particular data, there are some gaps. You can talk about that. Maybe sometimes we have some like issues, like people will be stealing your ideas, but you have to be careful and try to talk to them, and you can approach them, and try to start like read more about statistics and study design, and keep on learning, and you will be moving ahead. Yeah. All the best.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, friends. So if you have listened the session, the two slides is most important. If you understood the concept of these two slides, then this session is most useful for those the young researcher who wants to write your manuscripts. So with this, let us give a big thumbs up to Dr. Apoorv for his valuable time. So I request Dr. Apoorv, please find another time. We are planning to organize a similar session, 3 days comprehensive workshop on first week of July. So I request Dr. Apoorv, please join if find a time, because there are so many participants. They are sending me message. They are unable to join, and the session is very interactive. And friends, we basically offer a small memento to all our speakers, but due to the compulsion, Dr. Apoorv didn't accept that memento. So we are only offering a appreciation of certificate. So please accept this certificate from our side, from the on behalf of the organization. So I thank everybody. In spite of a weekend, you spent 1.5 hours. So thank you everyone, and thank you Dr. Apoorv. We will see you maybe in July if you can find a time. We are planning this workshop in July first week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, friends. So those who have filled your form, your certificate will be delivered to your inbox very soon, maybe in next 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Vijay, you'll be sending mine on my email. Is it possible?
Yes, I will sending the certificate to your email.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining. It was a wonderful session. Thanks so much.
So in fact, this session, this workshop, it was international. There are so many international participants there present.
Okay. Thank you. Nice.
Thank you, sir.
So much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.